Hello, Cancer. Welcome, everyone. How are you doing today? Good to see you. For those of you in the United States, hope you're enjoying a holiday. It's a bank holiday for many of us here in the US. For everyone else, welcome. It's good to see you. Got a lot of messages coming through today, and I just have a really good energy and feeling about this reading today, especially when I was looking at your spirit totem today, which was the lion. A symbol of strength, of leadership. There's going to be some great messages associated with that as well. And I was looking here at Apollo. He kind of looks like a little lion, doesn't he? So welcome, everyone. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh, and what we're going to be looking at is the next 6 to 8 week forecast for the sign of Cancer. And you can watch this for Sun, Rising, Moon, Venus. And honestly, if you know any aspect of your chart, you can use it for that. The beginning portion of all of my readings, honestly, everybody's welcome to join because I work as a channeler, a medium, and I bring forth messages that I pick up on based on whoever's going to show up today. So if you showed up, you're in the right place. Just stick around and we're going to talk about the messages. Let me go through the overall format and then we'll get into everything. I like to begin with channeled messages, and I've arranged all of those here on the table. We'll be talking about that. That comes through dreams, meditations, just me talking to my guides before I get started, and I scribble it down so that I remember it. After I go through all of those messages, I'll use the cards to drill in a little bit deeper and take a look at opportunities, potential challenges, and basically just set you up for success so that you have everything that you need to make the right decisions in the month ahead. After we look at the Celtic Cross, I like to expand the forecast also to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. And this gives us all a chance to basically let the main messages just come through, and then we can look at the areas I know you like to see there. And then I'll do a mini review at the middle, and we'll go a little bit deeper after that. And it's what I call the soul path. And the soul path is something that will come to me as I look at the cards here. Sometimes it's a lack of a certain suit. Sometimes it's a certain question that I have, or a difficult card that popped up that I want to drill into a little bit deeper for you. So that's really a chance to make sure that you get as much as you can. And then I pull a wild card in case I missed anything. We'll meditate. And at the very end, you can ask me a question psychically, and I'll pull a card, basically give you an answer. Yes, no, plus a little bit deeper. I can read a lot with just one card. So that's everything in a nutshell. Hopefully you are ready, because we're gonna get started here. 2 quick notes before that. First of all, if you have any high-level questions, my moderator Maria is here to lend a hand, so be kind to her and she'll be happy to help out. Also, just if you've never been here before, I don't answer questions during a live because I need to go into a channeled state, but I do read everything in chat afterwards, and you're very much welcome to show support if you would like to. I'll be using one of my newer decks today, which I was able to purchase through your contribution. So a way that you can show support in real time and just say thank you is by clicking on this little $ next to the emojis, and there'll be options there to do a super sticker, super chat, and I appreciate it. It helps a lot. You can also join the channel from that space, or you can click the join button underneath. We have a bunch of channel members here already. Thank you to all of you that on a monthly basis give back a little bit. I also wanted to mention that I'm starting to get a little bit more active on other social media platforms as well. So if you don't follow me on TikTok and on Instagram, you should. I started doing like mini reviews or pick a card, or sometimes even like a weekly read on those. And my username is @NicholasAshbaugh. You can, I'm going to post the link here at the top. So if you'd like to join me there, you can. I may start using the shorts feature here on YouTube as well to just kind of give some shorter content. I know that this is sort of the everything that you need for the month ahead, but on some of the other platforms, I give smaller readings, and also I do the recap. So if you like any of the cards here that I have that I handwrite, you can always read that recap on Instagram and also on my website. So check out all the links there on my website, and Maria will intermittently kind of put some of the links as it is appropriate. Okay. So let's go ahead now and get started, because there's a lot to talk about. So my little lion in the background is getting busy here and making sure that his bed is in proper order. It's so funny. For any of you that have dogs, I'm sure they do that crazy little thing where they've got to make sure that everything's okay. Let me bring up your spirit totem today. I always like to begin with something in nature that comes to me either in dreams or just as I'm starting to channel messages this morning. And yours was the lion. So such a beautiful creature, actually. And one thing that I've noticed is a lot of the animals that I've been talking about, they're all we have a lot of animals that are near extinct, basically. They're endangered. I couldn't think of the word. And this is one of them. There's not as many as you would think on the planet right now. So let's do what we can to protect this beautiful, majestic cat. So we see the male here. It's interesting that as with like peacocks and a lot of different kind of animals, the males tend to have the fancier sort of fur and arrangement here. We have the lioness here, beautiful as well in her own sort of subtle way. But a lot of times the men have to kind of like dress up and prove themselves. And we definitely see that with the lion. The mane, the older they get, the darker it gets and the longer it gets. And it's a sign of power and basically helps them establish their pecking order. And we're going to talk about how that factors into the month ahead here as well. Okay, so spirit totem is lion, and we're going to talk about this beautiful symbol. What I like about it, and the fun thing this year is I've started to use totems more, is I've learned a lot about animals, and I'm now familiar with the term apex predator. That basically means that they're at the top of their food chain, really not challenged by other animals. They're endangered by us, but not by other animals. So it's called the king of the jungle for a reason. It's beautiful, and it basically is sort of this sort of symbol of power that you see not just in nature, but a lot of times you'll see it on the seal for like a royal family or an organization if it wants to show power. So it's a really cool symbol to come through for you. It has with it some intricacies, which I'm going to unwind for you here in just a minute. The first of them is that you might find yourself working within a hierarchy this month. Like the Hierophant, right? There's going to be a corporation or a gatekeeper here that may be the deciding factor between you and something that you want. This could be someone that's going to approve a bank loan. This could be your boss that's going to approve if you get to do what you want to do. It's basically there's someone there that's a key factor to your independence, to your ability to move forward. And fortunately or unfortunately, you're going to have to work with them this month. Do your best to navigate the system. Use diplomacy. Use your communication skills. If you have any air in your chart, lean on that so that you can find a way to articulate yourself. The fact that you're already very much in touch with your emotions is going to help, because if people can feel what you're trying to say, even if the articulation isn't perfect, oftentimes that's enough. If they can sense the authenticity, again, the energetic commitment to it, you can pull people in. So use your heart, which you already have, and you're great at that. And then also try to work with communication. You can lean on someone in your life that's really good with helping you practice or helping you organize your thoughts. Take time to organize your thoughts. That's what I do here every single day that I show up, because it gives me a chance to then go even further into the channel. If I do the work first, then I can just sort of let things flow. It's the same when you have a difficult conversation in your life. If you kind of do that initial homework and work, it's going to be so much easier later. One of the things that I also picked up on, and we'll talk more about territorial issues as I talk about their sort of like characteristics, the lions, but you may find, like it flashed into my head, kind of like the moon card, where if you look at it, there's a dog and there's a wolf usually. And then there's either a path in the road or some water or something like that that separates them. And then, of course, we see the water with usually some sort of creature coming out of it, like a scorpion or a lobster or something like that, or something from the deep. So what it shows is territorial issues and then also emotional issues or things that need to come to the surface. That's what the moon card is about. And lions very much are territorial. Usually you have a male and a bunch of females in this pride or group of lions, and the male is the protector. Believe it or not, it's the women that do the work. They're the sort of like hunters. It's very sort of like Artemis type energy, where they're strong, they fight, they do all this sort of work, and the men just sort of like protect the cubs and the pride. But the women are the strong ones, actually, when I was researching this, which is interesting. So you may find that, you know, the key to you getting something done, the gatekeeper could be a very strong woman that is going to be the one that's the deciding factor. Even if there's a male near her, she's the one that you need to work with. So I definitely get strong divine feminine energy. So it's as much lion as it is lioness, this symbol. And the other thing, there's a really cool card. Let me see if I can pull this up here. That's in one of the newer decks that I have, the light seekers here. or light seers, where we sort of see like a lion over top of a woman, which is a really cool symbol, because we all have the capability to sort of like wear multiple faces to access the divine masculine and the divine feminine. And if I can find the card here, I'll show it to you, but I may not be able to because it's shuffled too well in the deck. Yeah, it's not here. But you can actually go to my Instagram, and I think I have that in the mini read. So what's cool about that is, again, this reminder that we have the capability to access that. We don't have to just play even the gender roles. And I think that that's one of the things that's important this month, is the ability to sort of like stretch beyond what's expected. And that may be one of the challenges for some of you. They may envision that only a woman or a man can do a certain job, and you're going to push through that expectation, like we have seen with nurses. It can be a male or a female. And we're seeing that, CEOs finally are starting to catch up, and we're seeing more women in that position. So some of it might be gender inequality. Some of it might be a gatekeeper situation. Whatever it is, here's the thing. It's the best person for the job. That's the important thing. So one of the things you might be fighting for is making sure that you're recognized. And if you're not recognized where you're at, whether it's a partnership or a job, it's time for you to seek something else where that's going to allow you to kind of like grow or go to the next level. Okay, let's look at the next piece here. Remember this. Okay, so if there are territorial or insecure people around you, you've earned this situation or this opportunity. A lot of times, people, especially if you start a new job, they may withhold training because they don't want you to know too much. They want to be sort of that gatekeeper of knowledge. Come to me if you have any questions, or that's enough for today. And, there was a line in Aliens, actually. I'm going to go to sci-fi, where Sigourney Weaver's character is getting trained on how to kind of use this weapon against the aliens. And he's like, well, you don't need to know this or whatever. And she's like, you got this started. Show me everything. And it's the same sort of thing. Like, if you're going to train me. I want to learn this. Don't hold back. I can take it. And that's what you want to tell the person, and kind of put them on the spot. Say, why are you withholding? It makes no sense. I'm ready to learn. Are you not ready to teach? Do I need to go to someone else? And that will kind of shift the situation, and you can show your strength. Again, whether you're, it doesn't matter. There's a lot of different things that could be sort of causing this. There may be an age disparity. Maybe you're younger, they're older, and you have a different position where you might be stepping up, and they're just kind of insecure. It could be gender, it could be race, it could be anything. But whatever it is, it actually isn't founded in logic. So what you have to do is kind of shock them out of that and help them see the illusion there. And you have the strength, you have the power. The other thing that I was thinking about here was 2 kings or 2 queens can either go to war, or they can make an alliance. More is going to be gained by doing that latter. Cooperation is really key. So you may need to be the one who offers the olive branch or negotiates. And definitely I see you taking the reins here, deciding that, this is what I want to say, this is how I want to do it. And because you have this sort of ability to emotionally infuse that with sensitivity, with passion, I feel like you can pull them into what you're trying to say or what you're trying to do, and it'll be great. A pride of lions is actually, it's a group. It was interesting when I was researching it. Not all of the wild cats work in groups, but lions do, and it's a pride of lions. There are about 30 or so. Like I said, the women are the ones that are the hunters, and the men kind of watch over the pride. And interestingly enough, there's not a lot of room for too many men. The women stick around, but usually the male cubs have to find a different group. And so again, the territorial stuff, again, the gender sort of inequality or fighting for resources, which shouldn't happen. And that's actually what happens after they hunt. So the women go out and hunt, and then they come back, and then there's like this big fight over the food, and there's a pecking order. And so when it comes to getting things in your life this month, there may be someone who is thinking to themselves, I've been here longer, I've done more of this, I've done more of that. It may or may not be valid, but you're going to have to figure out eventually, like a 6 of Pentacles moment, who gets what, and nobody should go hungry. Everyone should have, there should be enough resources to go around. And if someone's being selfish or someone's holding back too much, I think that's one of the challenges this month, is resetting that behavior so that it doesn't exist anymore. This could even be just even with children, teaching them the importance of sharing, saying please and thank you, not taking everything for themselves. because when we set those lessons early, then they're going to be so much more fun to go to school with, to work with, to partner up with in life later when they become adults. So we got to set those sort of habits early. And if there's people around us that grew up and never had that, then it's really about showing them that that doesn't work with you, and maybe teaching them a different way. Okay. Let's look at the next piece here. So you may find yourself in a situation where you're, like I said, fighting for resources. Remind others of your contribution and stand your ground. If this continues, you keep getting pushback, then it's time to look and sort of set your sights on something else. And the latter portion of your channeled messages this month really have to do with the power of the Two of Wands, which is intrinsic to manifestation. And taking all those fancy words and just saying, when you know where you're going, the universe basically helps you get there. If you don't know where you're going, you just amble around. So if you don't like where you're at, or if you can't get where you need to be, it's time to set a goal and say, universe, I'm ready for this, and then start that action every day. It may take a couple weeks, may take a couple months. You could decide to take a year or two, but it feels like if you are not getting where you want, you're just spinning your wheels, right? And if you just keep spinning your wheels, what happens? You're eventually going to kind of like sink in the mud. So you have to get out of that situation in the long run if you can't get where you need to be. Okay. Let's see here. The next piece here was I was shown a stack of building material. In my head, I was thinking this could have been like a post-tower moment. So for some of you, this could be after a breakup, after a layoff, or you might be in a job where there's been a merger, or you just moved in, you've got a new roommate. There's something happening where the change is already there, but now there's sort of like a tidying up that needs to happen. So the good news is this feels very much post-tower, but then this is now about deciding how to clean up the rubble. And if we think of you being like the sun, and if you think of like a creation of a solar system, there's this accretion disk, this spinning disk of dust around one object. You have to be the sun in this situation so that things can start to take shape, so that we can start to see a Mercury, a Venus, an Earth, Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto, all of those. Like we want to be able to see all of the order. And you might be the one, because we're getting a lot of king energy, solar energy here, to sort of set things in motion. If you don't, there's just dust and there's things fighting for resources and crashing into each other. So don't be afraid to step up, because honestly, when you, if you've spent time in classrooms, corporate situations, teams, it's just sometimes people throwing out ideas, and somebody's got to start that sort of idea creation or that brainstorming. Why not you this month? That's actually something, I'm going to skip to the end and then we'll go backward here. But speak up often, and don't be afraid to speak first, because you can then control or shift or affect the narrative. You have a chance to affect change and basically be the chariot here. Also a nice symbol for Apollo, the sun god, riding the chariot across the sky. We need somebody to bring light and enlightenment and control and order to the situation. Don't be afraid to do that. And if you're not the kind of person that likes to lead, find a leader and support that leader and help lift them up. Either way works, but it feels like that's part of it, okay? The next thing here is create a blueprint. So this can be any number of things. It could be a mission statement. It could be a list of things to do. It could be like what I'm doing, just write some things on some cards, but you need a plan. You need an idea, what's gonna happen. And really what this is like the Two of Wands, because this is part of manifestation. When you know where you're going, things happen faster. When you don't, it's harder. You go on a discovery path where you have to learn lessons. So create a blueprint, get a plan, basically, and then use that as your compass. That's why it's held in the Two of Wands. We see the two wands and we see the person holding the globe or the crystal ball. And then try to foster excitement and inspiration about whatever it is that you're trying to do, whatever it is that you're trying to offer, because people need to feel it. And thank goodness your sign is really good at that. You have the ability to sort of like amp up the excitement level. So don't be afraid to do that. All right, let's move on to the next card here. Others are looking to you for a cue and maybe a clue. So lead by example, and this is very much King of Wands energy. And in some of the decks that I have, we'll even see a lion on that card too, so that makes sense. But leading by example, showing what you have to offer, and giving people the sense that it's going to be okay. Sometimes people just want validation and this feeling that you're in it together, right? Okay. For relationships, I actually did get a message. I don't focus on it solely, but I did get something relationship related right now. And it's that I feel like there's going to be a pivotal moment. It's kind of like make it or break it. So if it's a make it moment, what happens is you have a really strong bond. You're going to be able to strengthen, deepen that sort of connection and understand the person much more than you did before. However, because of the territorial things that we talked about, because of some of the maybe even the inability to open up, because sometimes people are, maybe they lack self-esteem, and so they will kind of push back because they don't want to be seen, or they don't know how to kind of be in a sort of powerful situation. They fear power, they fear a challenge. So when this happens, this could be the breaking point for some of you. A lack of communication, a lack of trust, and that was the next piece that came up. And if this trust is lacking, then you're kind of building a house of cards, which, if you've never seen the trick, it's basically stacking all of these playing cards together to create like a pyramid type structure. You take one card out, the whole thing falls, like Jumanji basically, right? So trust is the key piece. It's the keystone. You take that keystone out and we're back to the tower, we're back to the rubble. So I think working on trust, and if it doesn't exist, and maybe if it doesn't exist for a reason, investigating that and thinking, am I happy with this? Can I continue to invest in something where I don't trust them or they don't trust me? Relationships can, of course, be romantic, familial, or they can also be work partnerships. And with respect to the latter, I actually feel like they could blossom. This may lead to a lasting friendship. I know that I have kept in touch with a handful of people from some of my previous jobs, to the point that we're like Facebook friends, or we text each other, because you spend so much time with those folks, right? Especially if you're putting in like 50 or 60-hour work weeks, probably more time with them than you are with your family sometimes. So it's not surprising that some of those people feel like family. And if you really there are some that you work with where it's like, yeah, I would actually hang out with you if I didn't have to. then you might find that there's a lasting friendship. There could also be a little bit of an overlap for some of you of romance. So we'll have to look at that when we take a look at the wealth card and when we look at the spread here. That could be tricky. That could also be why I saw the moon when I was focusing and channeling information. You'll want to be mindful of that. But of all of the different relationship types, work seems to be in a good spot. Seems like other types of relationships could be challenged with trust issues. So we'll investigate that when we look at love in the spread. All right. Help can come from an unlikely source, but it does require you asking. Don't be afraid to ask. If you ask at the right time, it can actually be a sign of, like preparedness, research. Asking, really, that's what it is. Like sometimes we think, oh, I need to know all the answers. No, you need to find the answers. You need to be informed. I'm not a zoologist. I just spend maybe half an hour doing some research and then an hour getting all these notes together. But when I look at spirit totems, I want to know a little bit about the animal besides what I just pick up on intuitively. So you don't have to know everything. You just have to know how to find out the information. So for you, that's the same thing. Be the one that, because if somebody thinks of you as the one that knows or can find out, that's just as strong. Ask this person. They can usually figure it out. Not a know-it-all, but the one that is a resource that can find the answers. I think that's just as strong. And if we could see ourselves not as having to know it all, but as being capable of figuring it out, then that's so much more important. It's a more scientific approach anyway. Science doesn't kind of pretend to know everything. It creates theories, it asks questions, it puts things through a pressure test. And so we should do the same thing. So ask questions, you'll find answers, you'll find an ally perhaps as well, okay? So the next piece here is what we talked about earlier, which is don't underestimate your ability to affect change, but it does require communication and speaking up. So it's really interesting that for a non-air sign, I got a lot of sort of communication energy coming through for you today, Cancer. So figuring out how to work with that is going to be helpful. If you happen to have an air placement in moon or rising, that's going to help a lot. But let's go ahead now and look at the cards here and see what messages come through. I'm excited to see it because I think the takeaway from the lion piece is strength and power. The tricky piece with it is territorial issues and even just personal pride. It's interesting that a group of lions is called a pride of lions. So we'll be dealing with issues of pride and power and prejudice. I like pride and prejudice. So all of those P words, you're basically going to have to look at those to make sure: pride, prejudice, power. And then Also, territorial sort of stuff is going to come through. But your vision is what's going to be what sets you apart. How you hold yourself, how you demonstrate your comfort, your power, your security. That's what's going to set you apart from the crowd. And it's going to help you in relationships and in work. All right. Let me stack up all of the cards here, and then let's get into the tarot reading and see what's coming through. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for the folks who, I saw we had a lot of new members today. So if you're a new member, welcome. Thanks to everybody who just gave a few super stickers and super chats. I appreciate you. All right. Everything that I do can be 6 to 8 weeks. If you've missed any of my July readings, they're all up on the main channel right now. So take a look. Just a quick note that subscribing is free, but it helps the channel a lot. So if you enjoy what you see here, please do hit the like and subscribe button. You don't get notifications unless you click the bell. So this is just a way to make sure that you can find me on your homepage on YouTube. And you can hit thumbs up anytime, just once. It's not like Facebook where you can keep smashing it again and again, but hitting it once does help. So thank you in advance. Let's take a look, Cancer, at what's coming through for you in the next 6 to 8 weeks. And welcome, everybody. If you just joined, perfect timing. Everything that you see here will be available for replay afterwards. There's the communication card. All right, let's take a look at everything that came through. And we'll start off with the catalyst. I picked 2 because 2 cards were sticking together and my guides were like, let's look at both. So we are. Actually, the first one that came through was this Gnosis card, I think is the way you say it. I've looked this up before, and basically is reminding us of the power that we all have to connect to the divine. That one of the interesting things is we don't have to, it's kind of like, this is why it's challenging to work with hierarchy, because the truth of the matter is a lot of times we hold the key within. And when we have to go to someone who gives us this sort of like, it's not just symbolic, it's like ceremonial permission sometimes. It's annoying because it feels like I should just be able to do this. And maybe if this isn't to your liking, that's something that you can do, because this could really sort of inspire you to be more entrepreneurial, more in control of your own life, your own destiny. So that was one of the reasons that like corporate work didn't appeal to me. You have to get permission to buy a stapler, right? And it feels like if you trust me and if I'm working at this company, I should be able to take a corporate card and get a stapler if I need it. So if that level of scrutiny isn't what you want, then you might need to do your own thing. But understanding that sometimes when you have to go through that, you may be also empowered to make bigger sweeping decisions. It's sort of like this weird, chaotic energy of, I'm going to ask you about this and you're like, how much you're spending on this meal, but you can make really big decisions about the company. And sort of like, it's weird how some of the accountability steps in. So for some of you, you're just trying to figure out where to give power away, how much scrutiny you want to face, what kind of organization and what kind of group you want to be in. Because the truth of the matter is you hold the key within to do whatever you need to do or whatever you want to do on this planet. You don't have to work with a certain group at a certain place with certain people unless you want to, unless there's something that for some things, there may be a single point that you're going to have to figure out how to navigate around. But the truth of the matter is, on a soul level, you're both powerful individuals. You just have different situations and life stories. So this card is showing the complexities of that, the fact that we're basically all pretty equal, but we come here and we live lives very differently, and we go through these patterns and these experiences that we've chosen to teach ourselves lessons, and sometimes that creates frustration. So as we look at the cards today, I'll try to kind of coach you through that, but this card is nodding to that and saying, yes, you have the power to do it. You just have to decide, do you want to continue on this journey? You are the author, you are the creator, you are the producer. So if you don't like it, change the story. We have the mirror card here, which is very much like the moon. This kind of reminds me of a Stargate that you would see in like 2001: A Space Odyssey. It reminds me of that. Or 2010, even like the sequel where he says, my God, it's full of stars. That actually, fun fact, it was in the first book, but they just didn't pull the line in there. So when we look into our inner mirror, it is full of that sort of celestial energy, because what are we all? We're these timeless, ageless beings, but we're in this everyday facade. Sometimes it makes it hard. The mirror is also telling you to look at what you're pulling in to your life. So if there's someone in your life that's really annoying, really difficult to be around, there's probably an aspect of your personality that attracted, allowed, or enabled that behavior. Sometimes people that are testing our power do so because we lack self-esteem, because we're kind to a fault, and we don't have the limits that we need. So look at the person and think, when did it start? How can I change it? How can I even shift it now? And make a decision to change what you're reflecting out. And then they're going to go somewhere else where they see a similar version of themselves. So as you change your own image, you're not going to have the same projections or reflections around you. In one of the decks that I use, cups are mirrors, and I think that's pretty accurate. So how you feel, what you're bringing in energetically, is going to be mirrored to you as well. So when you're looking for the love of your life, you have to become that which you seek, which is why I focus on soul growth first, and not like 60 or 90-minute rant on your person, because your person's being 100% affected by you, your soul. So if you're not working on you, you're just chasing your reflection, which is not effective. So that's why I don't understand all of the readings that focus so much on others. All right, so we have the Four of Pentacles at the center. The biggest thing that you could be working on this month is opening up. And the Four of Pentacles is a limiting card, a scarcity card, and it's not really necessarily true as I'm looking at everything around here, because I'm looking at your soul and we have the Three of Wands. So it tells me you can work past this. So sometimes Four of Pentacles happens when we are comfortable with something, and it may not be everything that we want, but we think, well, if I don't have this, what do I have? So we hold on to it instead, and we limit potential because we can see what's in front of us. We can't see what's on the horizon. We can imagine it. We don't know the timing of it. So we hold on to what we can see. So this card is saying, look to your vision, look to your blueprint, right? And I think that's why I think that it's important for you to focus on kind of like where you want to be next, and let go of thinking that this is it. So the illusion of this card is that what you have now is all that you will have. The truth of it is you're a creator. So if you are believing that, then you are creating that. So open up to abundance. The other thing is, this is a message that it's okay to talk to someone. It's okay to let go. It's okay to heal your heart space. There may be someone in your life that affected self-confidence. Usually Five of Pentacles is more of that, but we could be holding on to a wound from the past here. So once you get past all of that, guess what? Some good stuff happens, because we have the Lovers card right on top of that. For those of you that just met someone, you want to get past the Four of Pentacles as quickly as possible, because the Four of Pentacles limits the potential of growth. Lovers is a very attractive and expansive energy. If you're looking for love this month, it looks good. We've got the Ace of Cups at the top here. We have the Star card too. So for many of you, you may have met your match. I talked about this in the newsletter that I just wrote, because I got the King and the Queen, the Empress and the Emperor. And the Ace was also reversed when I had that spread. It was the Ace of Swords, which can sometimes be thoughts, or even like how how difficult we kind of put the bar of excellence for ourselves. We have too high of a bar and we feel like we can't do it. So for you, I would say just imagine that you can do it, that things will grow, that things will be more, and you'll surprise yourself and you'll surprise others. The Lovers card on top of this shows me that whether or not you're interested in love, people seem to be kind of energetically knocking on your door and they're interested. They want to know a little bit more. So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to open up. Don't be afraid to say yes. It feels like it's a good, expansive time for you. If you meet someone new and they're holding back, definitely take your time on that. Get to know the person, because if they're the Four of Pentacles, you want to know why or what they're hiding. Why they're hiding it or what they're hiding. We have two aces for you. We have the Ace of Swords and the Deep Past, and it's upright. And we have the Ace of Cups in the crowning position, and it's reversed. Let's start with the Ace of Swords. Again, this came through in my newsletter, so I'm not surprised to see it. And guess what? When we looked at your love and relationships, we got Mercury, open communication. So I mentioned earlier that relationships and everything this month was going to hinge on your communication. So you have what it takes to do it. You don't have to choose the perfect words. You just have to have like the right timing, the right emotional component, and you have to believe what you're saying. If you do that, you're set. The other thing with Ace of Swords is it's an action card. I always think of someone taking that sword and moving forward, fighting for what they need. Swords move. They're in the air. There's motion happening. So taking something from here to the physical plane is what you want to do. So we don't have an Ace of Wands. We have an Ace of Swords. It's time to move it forward. Okay. So I think that the other thing that I mentioned in the newsletter that I'll pull through to this is everything begins with an idea, but each person has a choice on if they want to act on the idea or when they want to act on the idea. And it's the persistence of following the dream or the ideation that is what equals success. So I think successful people don't give up. So don't give up and just keep trying. Just keep moving. See where it takes you. Because Cancer, you're the star. This is coming through in recent past. And so for those of you that are watching it live, it's now. This is your moment. So with the star card, and this is such a beautiful star card too, basically what you want to do is not mute your light, to show up and just basically shine, share what you have to offer with others. So the star comes through when we have increased visibility, when oftentimes we are tapped on the shoulder and someone says, hey, I think you would be great for this. Do you want to do it? Or someone asks you out and says, hey, I've been looking at, I've been wanting to ask you for a long time. Do you want to, whatever, get a drink or something like that? You're being put in the spotlight, but you're also kind of being put on the spot. So spot and spotlight. So are you ready? And that's more of a sort of a question that only you can answer. So if you're ready, then I feel like the star is shining and that star is you, and there's some cool stuff coming through. And if you're ready for love, then this is a really strong energy that comes forth. This could be sort of what you were looking to call in. And then that makes you feel sometimes that sense of insecurity, right? So don't be insecure. You've got this. One thing that you need to focus on this month, when I look at your headspace, we've got the Ace of Chalices. I always read the crowning card as like what's going on in your head. And for me, this is someone who has been through a lot, still standing, still passionate, still excited about things, but it feels like you need a chance to sort of like decompress. This can be an emotional kind of like download or dump. You have to get rid of that stuff so that you can take this. I've talked before about cups. They can be like a satellite, right? So when the cups are reversed, it's like the satellite's broken or it's facing the wrong direction. So what we have to do is let it go, fix it, and then slowly bring it back into the upright position so we can receive guidance again, so we can see the sort of like the silver lining. So do what you need to do to decompress. Creative endeavors are great. So if you like writing, art, dancing, anything that can allow you to express yourself, woodworking, I don't care. Do something with your hands. Cleaning the house counts too. Whatever it is that allows you to just expend some effort and get rid of some of that sort of energy that you're holding on to. Exercise works too. But you just need to move your energy, and then take some of this stuff and maybe make it into something beautiful. That's the cool thing with art. You can take a difficult emotion and you can elevate it or make it something that people relate to, and you heal yourself in the process. So Whether it's therapy or art, find a way to get that out. It will be good for you, okay? But until that's sort of like the satellite's in the right position, what's happening here is it's something's really beautiful, you and someone else, but I feel like this space is clouded. It's like that accretion disk that I was talking about. We got to get the clouds away so that you can see through it and see what's going on, the mental fog. And that's why the Ace of Cups is in that position, okay? So clearing the house counts too. I saw someone in the comments, so that makes sense as well. We've got the moon card in reverse in the near future. We talked about the moon. And you can see the two wolves here. And like I said, sometimes it's a path, sometimes it's water. And interestingly, on this card, we don't see anything coming up from the water, but we can infer that probably in the shadows here that there would be something like a scorpion or a crab or something like that. This is you too. So what I would say with the moon card here is be yourself. The card reversed, we're going back to the mirror. It's turning the mirror within and looking at what's going on in your life, looking at how you've affected all of that, and then going into that well of dreams, of desires. Desires are important, passion, fear, all of those. They're not all lower emotions. Some of those are really good. We want to have passion. Fear protects us, but we have to diffuse the fear. And the way that I diffuse fear is through like information, education. When you know more about something, you're not afraid of it. So education takes away ignorance. And when ignorance is gone, then fear is not fueled. And then you can just sort of move forward in it, okay? Honesty, trust is really important. And this goes back to what I was talking about sooner. So the moon reversed is someone hiding something. If you're hiding something, let it go. We've got the Four of Pentacles at the center. It's going to be more liberating for you when you let it go. If there's someone in your life and you sense that they want to talk to you about something, or you've learned that they've kept something from you, then you have to open up a conversation with them and let them know. It's just say, I want to talk to you about this and it's safe. I'm not upset, but we have to talk. That doesn't, it's not like you're forcing them, but it's sort of saying, if we don't do this, we're going to have bigger issues. So you figure out when you want to talk to me, but let's talk this week. We need to clean the air. I once had someone that I was working with where we had an argument outside of work and the person ignored me for like 6 months. And I thought, this isn't going to work. We have to see each other. So that's what I said, like, let's just meet and let's talk and let's clear the air. And it was fine after that. You have to take the pressure cooker, like the top off, and let the vent go. And in that situation, both of us talked it out. We're like, yeah, we both could have done better. And we weren't necessarily friends after that, but it was okay because we were no longer holding on to the anxiety. We could move on with life. There's nothing worse than sort of walking on eggshells or broken glass. You have to get the elephant out of the room and just sort of say, it's here, let's talk about it, right? Okay, so that's the main thing, is to have a conversation, and the other person's probably going to be relieved too. But if there's something that you've been holding on to or hiding because of fear of judgment, then remember, you're the star this month. You're going to be fine. I feel like the last sign about this, but one of the important things is to start some sort of a declaration or an announcement or a coming out with the beginning portion, which is, I love you, I care about you. And because of that, you don't want to say I love you at work. You could just say, I really respect you. You're an important member of the team if it's that. But just say, because of our relationship, I feel like this is going to strengthen it. I just want to share this with you. And I know I can count on you for support. But if you have any questions, let me know. Build it up so that you say that I like you. This is good news. I can't wait to share it with you. I know I can count on you. And then they're going to have a hard time not supporting you. So you can do a little bit of reverse psychology and peer pressure. But set it up that way. It's better to declare than to ask permission for something that you already feel and believe. So the announcement should be a declaration. So until you can declare what it is that you want to say, whether it's I love you, let's get a divorce, again, it could be a coming out, whatever it is, you're sharing it because you love the person. You're not asking them for permission for the feeling that you have. But then you can ask them how they feel about your feelings if you want to. But at the beginning portion, and even then I would just say, what are your thoughts? I wouldn't ask for permission. That's one thing that I've kind of learned over time, is that this is what's going on. I want to share it with you. And then you see what they have to say. Okay. Hopefully that helps. A lot came through with the moon. I wanted to get that out because in your soul position, your ego position, we have the Three of Wands, which is fantastic. So you're manifesting already. Things are already happening. You're past the Two of Wands. You're into the Three of Wands right now. Okay. So with the Three of Wands in reverse, I would say it's really important for you to not lose sight of what's in front of you, not to take a sign for granted, because typically with the Three of Wands, you would see, a boat coming in on the shore and somebody either standing and watching guard as that's coming or like meeting the boat halfway. So with the Three of Wands, I want you not to get sort of like stuck in your headspace. Get out there, go to the shore, meet the person. And we're speaking figuratively here. So if you've been working really hard on something, what could happen is you could get a phone call, an email, someone could stop you in the hallway and talk to you, and something big could be happening. But if you're distracted, you may not take the call, or you may dismiss the person and say, yeah, we'll talk later. I can't talk right now. I'm just not feeling good. And you've missed it. So don't miss it. Clear this out so that you can pick up on the fact that someone is ready. The gatekeeper or the connection is ready to come in. So I don't want you to miss that. The gatekeeper could be good, but you might just be missing out on it because this is fogged. But Three of Wands is good no matter what. 3 and 4 of Wands, they can be reversed. It just means that what will happen to you could take longer because of the distraction. It doesn't mean that it won't happen. Okay. So I see really positive movement happening for you. Stay awake and stay aware so that you can ride that wave and go further faster. So there you go. All right, let's look at your environment. We have an avoidable disagreement here. We have the Ten of Swords. This Ten of Swords, you see someone like wrapped up in the claws of this beast, and we see the swords kind of going all the way through the person, but it's kind of like to me, it looks like what is it? Just kind of like a wheel, right? Kind of like the ones that, I can't think of the word. It's like when there's a waterfall and there's one of those wheels that can kind of be used to use the energy of the water. It's that kind of thing, like a turbine sort of thing. So don't get stuck up in this. What I'm seeing with this is that some people feed off of that, just like we're harnessing the energy of the water. Some people use your reactions to feel better. And they also want to evoke a reaction with you. So if somebody has a way to get under your skin, you're going to step back and say, not today, this isn't going to happen. I'm not going to do that again. You can check in with them and see why they're feeling agitated and just say, well, why don't you talk to, let's pause. It's not about this. How are you doing? Push it back on them. Take the mirror and turn it around and say, this is how it feels from my perspective. What's going on? Shine the mirror back at them. And regain your power. So regain your power through sometimes reflecting how people sound and act. I had someone recently who just kind of sent a curt email, and I did the same thing. I said, I don't think you meant it to come back this way, but this is how it came across, and the person agreed. So sometimes people don't realize how they're projecting. So this is a chance for you to just hold the mirror for a second and say, I'm not going to react. I'm just going to share this. This is what it looked like to me. And here's your answer. And then behavior will change. We have to do that sometimes because people are unaware, and rather than arguing, just hold the mirror up. That's what I would say. Avoid the argument and instead reflect and say, you sound stressed out. That was really hurtful. What's going on with you? You've told them that they hurt your feelings, but you didn't yell at them. And then 2, you showed sympathy and empathy, which they didn't. And then if they don't reciprocate, say, we can't talk right now. Call me when you've cooled down. Set multiple limits. This is how you made me feel. What's going on? All right, we can't talk if you're not ready. And then if it gets worse, you can go to someone else and ask for help. Like we talked about, say this person's not being reasonable. I've tried. They're just, the communication's broken down. So you don't have to argue with them. So we can avoid it. It's in the environment. It's not you. There's someone around you that is sort of toxic in communication or wants to get your attention, and it's in a way that's not productive. So just like maybe a kid would throw a tantrum, we're not going to reinforce that behavior. We're going to try to diffuse that and let them know that we are sorry they're feeling bad, but you're not going to sort of like feed that and go crazy over that too, because then it just gets worse. You don't want to yell at it either. Like if you're yelling at a kid or a dog or a coworker and they're already in an agitated state, that's when it goes into the full Ten of Swords. So it's better to diffuse, walk away, or reschedule. All right. And always check in, always give, like with a kid, you just want to give them a hug too at a certain point. Like, yes, I love you. It's okay. Take a deep breath. We can't talk when you're doing this. We're not getting anywhere. So anyway, it's hard, especially if the kid is like 2, or if you have a dog and they're upset. You've got to find a different way, but you'll find a way. I know you can. All right. The next piece here is the Hermit. So the hermit holds the star. The hermit's in your fears and possibility space. You're already the star. You don't. Some of you may be worried that this is going to be a brief moment in time. So what I would say to you is, no, keep shining. You've made it already. So don't let fear step in. Don't let insecurity step in. That was one of the things that we talked about in the channel messages, is that sometimes people are afraid to be around other strong people. You shouldn't. If strong people are in your presence, or even someone stronger, you're doing something great. If you meet someone that is more popular, more powerful, richer, more beautiful, whatever, and they like you and they're hanging out with you, they're attracted to you. They see something within you. You're both stars. You shine differently, different intensities, different luminosities, whatever, but you're both stars. So remember that. And don't worry about your star fading. You can have someone shining bright and you're shining bright too. And that's the message this month. Again, 2 queens, 2 kings, doesn't matter. You've got what it takes. Here's one of the things that you want to avoid this month. We have the 5 of Swords. And if you take my advice on the 10 of Swords, I don't think that this is going to factor into things too strongly. But the 5 of Swords is an argument that's not worth fighting. It's words that we say that come back and end up biting us sometimes. There's a really cool card in the Aphrodite Tarot of Arcanas, and the 5 of Swords there kind of shows the blood on the sword from what she said. So be careful. Words have a way of ricocheting back. And also, when we hurt someone, we hurt ourselves too, and that's what that card was showing. With this particular 5 of Swords, we just see people not very productively working. It's just sort of a mess right now. And we see the winds of change blowing in the background. So this situation, the challenge that we see in front of you right now, it's not going to last. There are 3 tricky cards for you that we have to pay attention to. Everything else is really awesome. But we have, in the environment, the 10 of Swords, we have the moon in the near future, and we have in the future the 5 of Swords. If you can get past these 3, then what we see here was a lot of great stuff. We have the star, we have the Ace of Cups. Even the moon itself is a very creative card. So the sun and the moon, basically, because the star is the sun. This is nice balance of energy. So I feel like you can do a lot with what's given to you this month. You just have to improve communication. And we're going to talk about that with relationships in just a second, because Mercury came through. So when we go into the soul path, I'll help set you up for even more success. But let's just take it one step at a time here. All right, we're going to start with your expanded forecast. We're looking at the health card. We have Mother, Father, and God, which I like this. This is more of a true, I always wondered, this is why I had to drop out of religious school, because I asked too many questions. I feel like, where's the divine feminine in traditional religions, right? It's lost, and it should be there. Like, there's mother, father energy in God, right? God is all of that and more. So I feel like the fact that we've taken religions and put only a male figure on it makes no sense. God is not gendered. And if it were, it would be a woman, because it has to give birth. So we've missed something there. So what this is really showing us here in the health piece is that for some of you, there may have been a mother-father figure missing, or there may have been someone that made you feel less than because of who you were. Maybe they wanted a son or a daughter, whatever. There are some gender issues that are coming through with this card. It doesn't matter. God is all of that. It's everything under the rainbow. And it's an it. It's not a he or a she. So when we start to realize that everything on this planet, from a blade of grass to my dog, to you, to me, it's all an expression of God, then we start to worry a little bit less about what it looks like, and we start to figure out we're all in this together. So the power issues that are coming through this month, they're imaginary. The gender issues, the racial issues, the religious issues that we have on this channel, not this channel, but on this planet that we're dealing with right now, they're just the dust that's spinning around, and we're waiting for that to clear so that we can see the truth. So this month for health, we'll take it back down to earth. I went on a rant. Mother, father. Some of you are dealing with parental issues. There could be a sick parent. There could be a power issue that's kind of popping up with you and one of your parents, or you're stuck in the middle. So remember that at one point or another, you're going to realize that you're all adults. And have you ever noticed that sometimes roles switch as you get older? You end up sort of like helping more, and then they rely on you. So just realize that there's fluidity in these roles. And if someone that's really, really a pain in the butt right now, 10, 20, 30 years later, they may shift. So find your place in this circle and realize that the roles that matter now won't matter in the future. And there's a big blurring that's going on between all of them, okay? Find your power, find your source. It doesn't have to be from approval from mom, dad, teacher, boss. You have it within. We're back to this card here. So you are the source. You're connected to the source. The source is connected to everything else. If you focus on that, you're going to have a happier, healthier view, and you're not going to feel like you're left out. The solar plexus energy came through on that. Focus on this area right around your stomach. Some of you may have digestion issues this month or might be feeling some pain or cramps. If that's happening, some of it could be sort of surrounding power issues in your life. So if a mother or father figure is kind of coming in because the card is reversed and they're trying to tell you what to do, a lot of times this can kind of create tension, affect our appetite, affect our digestion. So focus on clearing those sort of issues so that this part of your body will be okay. There are some exercises in yoga. Breath of fire is one of them. There are a lot of other things that you can do. Just working out the core is going to be great. In yoga and Pilates or doing sit-ups or anything that you do that creates a stronger core will help you in these power situations. Other health issues that came up. So for women that might be trying to conceive this month with the moon in reverse and also with the Ace of Cups in reverse, there could be some challenges because of just emotional stress. And it feels like some of you, this is everybody, I wouldn't just say women, it feels like there's a burnout that's happening, possibly because of living situation, work situation, or just general stress management. So you're needing to kind of heal yourself first before you're able to allow things to kind of come forth. So creatively speaking, birthing a project, and then literally speaking, if you're trying to conceive and give birth, you want to really heal the emotional part of your life right now. If you haven't made a trip to the doctor in a while, it's a good thing to do. This is a fear card, sometimes associated with health. Usually that would factor into things like reproductive organs or bladder or things like that. So just take a look at those areas if there's anything going on, obviously. Ultimately, I think things are okay with respect to health, and they're going to work out in the long run because we have the Three of Wands here, okay? You just have to talk. It's all about open communication this month. Looking at wealth, we have kind of like a misdirected arrow here. The arrow is in reverse. And when this arrow is reversed, it's saying, am I focusing on putting things in the wrong direction? It says, surround yourself with protective energy. We see a shield on this card as well. So remember that you have the capacity to always say what you want. The arrow to me is also a sword. It's like a hidden sword in this spread. So I would say, like we have the Ace of Swords here in the past, don't be afraid to use the skills to speak up, to be more direct though. When I have like an Ace of Swords in reverse, getting to the point, saying what you need, getting in and out of a conversation if you need to, and then speaking up is actually what's going to protect you. So in your wealth situation, one thing that I would do, change your passwords, take a look at who you're investing your money and your time and energy with. And if this person doesn't have your back, it's time to, look for something else. And then I would say also protect ideas, because we have this sort of shield energy around this as well. So if there's anything that needs to be copyrighted or protected somehow by a legal procedure, then do that this month as well. A little bit of protection going on with wealth. When I'm looking at pure money cards here, it feels like you might be selling yourself a little bit short, which is one of the messages I warned you against earlier. So don't sell yourself short. If you are someone who owns their own business, and let's say it's a traditional store and you're trying to compete against some of the other chains, you don't want to undercut your sales. You have to find that right price point. If you are a contractor and you have an hourly rate, pick a rate that is actually competitive and isn't going to, again, sort of like put you in a deficit for the supplies and materials. Giving away work is what happens when I see the Four of Pentacles. You're not making money. So it's fine if it's not even, that is not even nonprofit. Nonprofit would come in as Five of Pentacles. It would be break even. Four of Pentacles is operating at a loss. So I don't want you to operate at a loss. There's something in your life energetically that's depleting, and I'm not seeing the return that needs to happen energetically. And, you're the star, baby. We got this right here with the star card. Let's make sure that you've got it. Let's pull it out, because I want to get you to 7, 8, 9, 10 of Pentacles. All right. So you're the star, shine, stand up for what you're worth, get that. You're going to be okay. Some of you may just kind of like the quieter background seat, but when it comes to negotiation and when it comes to getting paid, or if it comes to somebody that's causing trouble, you have to kind of solve all of those things so that you can enjoy some quiet time. I understand that. All right. Mostly good, but I feel like with the star card, you have to own it. You have to step up. And unless you ask, particularly when it comes to like salary agreements and things like that, you're not going to know. So push a little higher than you think you can go, and you'll surprise yourself and you'll surprise others. Okay. So let's go ahead now and take a look at your relationship card. And we have Mercury, open communication. It says, get a weight off your chest, speak up with love, and be heard. I feel like we've been talking about that for the last hour or so here. So Mercury, Hermes, is coming through in your relationships this month. So if you can have the open communication, anything is possible. If it breaks down, this is the other person saying, I'm not ready for what you have to offer. I don't want to do this anymore. It's kind of like a little kid on the floor. I don't want to. In an adult relationship, that's a lot harder. With a kid, you have to work through that. But with an adult, that becomes exhausting, right? So you shouldn't have to be mom, dad, and everything. Now this is starting to make sense a little bit here. Mom, dad, and God for this person. There are some people in our lives that want us to be the everything. When you're looking at your partner, they can't be the everything, and you shouldn't be the everything for them. It's exhausting. Because if you've ever been a caretaker or watched a caretaker, a lot of times the person gets a little bit lost in that process. So this is your chance to find yourself, to stand up, and to help cut the codependencies that might be currently existing in some relationships in your life. Let's take a look here. Again, with the honesty piece, I feel like as long as you can openly discuss what's going on in your life, you're going to be fine. You may agree to disagree, and that's okay. There may be some waters that you're not going to cross. That's all right. Because across the center, we still have the lovers. Loving someone isn't having to be right, isn't making them agree with you. It's just having that sort of, again, open communication and working at it a little bit every day, a little bit of improvement. As long as progress is being made, then you're on the right track there. I think the biggest problem for some of you could be a difference of what you're focusing on for the future, different goals in the future, because this is your soul space. This has to do with manifestation. It looks like that's where the argument is. So for those of you that are younger, let's say that you are in college or just got out of college, or you're in school, your parents may be pushing you down a path that doesn't resonate. Or you may have chosen to go away from whatever you studied in school. Maybe you're, out of college by a few years, and it's sort of like, this path is not me. I'm more this. You're allowed to change your mind. You're a free agent. But then there is that sort of, sometimes because parents paid for school, there's that sense of ownership, but that's not true. Part of being a parent is helping kids. So just like I have to pay the vet bill for my dog, or the food bill for my dog, or any number of things, the grooming bill, I don't sit there and resent him. I give him a hug. That was part of my responsibility when I adopted him, and I'm more than happy. And when you truly love someone, these are gifts. They're not strings. So cut the string, forgive yourself, repay them if you need to, if that gives you what you need to feel free. But it's okay. If you're mid-career, older in your life, maybe retired, what this could really have to do with is just the permission to try on. I was talking about like trying on a new pair of clothes yesterday. Sometimes like shedding our skin, we just have to present ourselves differently. Present yourself differently, because that's what the star is coming through and saying. You can do that at any phase in your life. And you should really be able to do that in a relationship. Okay. Other things that I'm picking up on in the relationship energy is you could be intimidated by the other party because of the star energy. Like I said, remember, you're the star too. I saw 2 kings or 2 queens. Your mental energy, your emotional energy is a little depleted. That needs to come into a stronger place. Let's break it down into in love. I think for those of you in love, again, trust and communication is important. Making sure that the other partner is seen and validated, and vice versa, is important. If you're looking for love this month, the person that you meet may not be completely forthright. I've been picking up on that for the past few days. So I would say really be careful with getting to know them and not rushing into something. It feels like you may also just need a little space and time. So I think this month, take it slow and take some time off too. You might just need a break. If you're not looking for love, this is actually a good time to just decompress. Yes, you'll be very productive this month with the 3 of Wands. And in the quiet downtime, a lot of inspiration comes through. The moon is a nocturnal card, so you're going to get, like I normally get, a lot of downloads at night. Ideas, wake up, scribble that stuff down before you wake up, or get a little, just dictate it into your phone or some sort of a recorder, because you can then use that for inspiration later. All right, finally, in your outcome, we have love and accept yourself. Thank the angels for lovingly guiding me through self-acceptance. I think this is the key to the Four of Pentacles at the center. So if you love yourself enough to fight for yourself or to ask for more, then great things await you. You have to ask. You have to even ask the universe or tell the universe, I'm ready for this. Let's do it. Because we are agents, free agents. Angels step in when we ask them to step in. The divine, God, whatever you call it, steps in when we engage with it, unless our life is in danger or something. Most of this is a choice on this planet. So choose to ask, choose to engage, choose to direct this arrow in the right direction, and things are going to start to shift in a really positive way. All right, let's do a mini review here. Before I step into that, I want to remind myself of what I'm going to ask in the soul path. I want to look at resources right off the bat. I think we can amp up the Four of Pentacles. So I want to look at how you can increase your resources. So we'll look at that after we review. And I would like to focus on the outcome, the Five of Swords, the moon and the Five of Swords. I want to see what else awaits you. Once you get past this, what's the other outcome? Because these to me seem like the gatekeeper or the roadblock. So let's focus on what the next step is. So let's look beyond this little road bump, and I'm going to say, show me way out there. Let's look more like on the 8-week portion, and then let's look into the future. And then, of course, we'll do a wild card. All right, let's do a quick mini review, and then we'll get into the soul path. Then I'll meditate, and then we'll do the final question that you have for me. All right, so if you just joined, perfect timing. Even if you've been here, I'll get additional things as I do the review, so hang tight. Your spirit totem this month was the lion, and the lion is an apex predator, fancy word for saying it's at the top of its food chain. That's why it's called the king of the jungle. You may find yourself working within a hierarchy this month, and some of the communication issues that we saw with the 10 and the 5 of swords could come from the frustration that you have between having to work with an arbitrary gatekeeper, whether that's an administrative assistant, whether that's a CEO that doesn't know what she or he is doing, or someone else that's a decision maker that has to, like rubber stamp their approval on it. This could cause you to kind of feel the sense of, ugh, but you're going to be okay because we've found some solutions here this month. Navigate the system using diplomacy and communication. You have the skill. You have the skill to do it for sure. And some of it might just be agreeing to, again, keep your distance, not argue. For some of this is just kind of like, I'm going to sail through this, and they're going to be surprised because I'm making some great progress. So diplomacy and hard work are going to pay off. Much like the moon card, hello moon, you may have someone step in and test your boundaries. And it is a test. It is just sort of seeing like how far you'll go, if you'll speak up for yourself, etc. The territorial energy really stems from insecurity. So remind them that you've earned this opportunity too. And just like Sigourney Weaver in that old sci-fi movie, just say, no, show me everything. I'm here to work. Two kings or queens can either go to war or they can make an alliance. I think there's more to be gained by that alliance and by communication and partnership and cooperation. But you're probably the one that's going to have to offer up the olive branch and set forth the negotiations. The pride of lions can be a bigger group. So group dynamics are important. The females were the stronger energies in this particular sort of animal kingdom here, I would say. So for whatever reasons, they did all of the hunting and the men just sort of stood by and watched. So there might be sort of this, when we're looking at an organizational structure, there may be someone who's not doing enough work. There may be people that are doing a lot that don't have the title they deserve. Again, in a family situation or in a partnership, again, someone's doing the lion's share, and whoever's doing that, make sure that that there's more balance in the future. There was a pecking order here. Looked like the cubs were getting the least sort of food and the least resources. Remember that there's enough to go around this month, much like the Six of Pentacles. It's really just about saying yes, saying no, and making smart choices with respect to that. Remind others of your contribution, stand your ground. And if they're constantly pushing back, if they're giving you the Four of Pentacles all the time, you're not getting paid enough. You're not getting respected enough with that. It's time to to basically put your energy and efforts into something else. It's more more reciprocating of your time and energy. I was also shown a stack of building materials. Remember, progress happens one brick at a time. And sometimes you don't see it until you step back from it. So make sure that you're getting a little bit of a break and taking stock in what's happened. Create a blueprint. You shouldn't be faking construction, for instance. If someone was just building a building and they didn't put the plumbing in, then you have to take the wall down and put the plumbing in, and oh yeah, now we got to put the electrical wiring in. There's an order, there is a sort of like a plan. Make sure you have a plan. You're going to save time and get it done quicker. Get some excitement and encouragement going on with people around you. And if you're working in a toxic environment where that doesn't exist, then again, this is not compatible with you or what you're trying to do. Other people are looking for you for a clue or for some guidance, so show that. King of Wands, lead by example there. Relationships are make it or break it this month, and I agree with the Moon and the Ten of Swords. This is where emotions, tempers, all these things are sort of like coming to a head, and you're going to have to decide what you want to do about that. But they can go deeper. So working past the conflict and finding a way to forgive is going to be key. Trust plays a really pivotal role this month. If you don't have it, it's a house of cards. So work on trust issues. Partnerships may blossom. There could be complications. I didn't really see it here, but I feel like friendships could evolve here. There could be some love in the future, but right now I just see improvements with work relationships, but it looks like challenges in some other areas. Help can come from an unlikely place. Ask, reach out. You have a chance to affect change, so speak up, speak often, speak first if you need to, control the narrative. Use the power of mirroring, of echoing back what someone said, to show them how it sounds or how it feels, and to remind them that you are a person and that maybe that didn't come out the right way. Show people what they're doing. Look into the mirror yourself and realize that some of what's going on is a reflection of you. Change what you need to change, and then reflect to others what they might need to work on as well. Mirrors are important. This is just showing you that you have the power to create change. The frustration exists when other people try to challenge that or arbitrarily have a key, and maybe they don't have any more or less experience than you, but it is what it is, and that's part of hierarchies. You just have to choose whether you want to play within that hierarchy. You could be selling yourself too short. Someone could be undervaluing you. Let's work on bringing the value up. That's the first question that I'm going to look at in the soul path. We have the Lovers here, which shows me you have a lot to offer. So if you're not getting it where you're at, there's somewhere else that you can get that. We have the sun or the star and the moon here. So when I look at solar and lunar energy kind of connected here, to me, it's just a matter of deciding which role you're going to play. The star, which is organizing it, or the moon, which is the satellite that's following it. Speak up. Emotionally balance yourself, artistically kind of express yourself if you'd like to. We've got a lot of our artistic cards coming through here. Spirit's coming through in a really big way with the star, the Ace of Cups, and the moon. Listen to what you're being given. Three of Wands, things are better than they seem. The card is reversed, so look at the positive side. Don't miss something because you're too much in your headspace. Avoid an unnecessary argument. There are some things that are not worth saying, even if they feel really good. In the long run, they're going to sort of be like something salty. It's going to leave you kind of or sour. You're going to just feel that taste in your mouth for hours, and you don't want that. The Hermit card, you really don't have time or room to hide. Your light isn't going to be dimmed. Some of you may just need a vacation. You also might be sitting on something really big, really important. So in that case, I understand and respect that, but it does feel like the time is now to start to bring that into fruition. And then again, with Five of Swords, try not to say something that you'll regret. You can't be somebody's everyone, even though this is coming through in the health card. That's really what we see here with Mother, Father, God. The world can't revolve around you or around someone else. There has to be more balance. So find the balance in your life. Tap into source. You may find this month that you're actually really connected to spirit. That's great. With the star and the moon, you're going to be able to access that and do great things with it. This is not just intuition, but instinct. So follow your instinct this month. With health issues, chronic pain or fatigue, I didn't even mention that. That's why I do the review. For some of you, it could actually be, it feels like it's tight. It's not just like on the spine. The swords are all around. So it could just be like this tight knot, or it could be hitting you in a few points. The Ten of Swords is typically the back, but if you're having any chronic pain or fatigue, please go to the doctor. It did show up in the environment, so it looks more like it's stress related, but you need to find a way to manage that stress, or it will manifest in other places. that was the main focus for the health card. That's kind of like jumping out at me. Once you figure out what's wrong, it feels like you're going to be able to figure out how to fix it because of the Three of Wands. In wealth, we have a protection card and a direction. So direction is protection. Sometimes I say rejection is, but in this case, it's really about having the right direction. Redirect, turn if you need to. You don't have to stay in the same place at the same time. Just like this satellite. Sometimes we've learned what we need to, and we need to kind of point our energy and direction elsewhere, and it feels like that's the case. Some of you need to move on to a different job or a different environment based on what I'm looking at. In your relationships, communication is key. As long as you communicate, things will be all right. If they don't, they fall apart. For some of you, you're meeting someone new in your life, and there's stress and there's other things going on. Try not to let this spill over into this. This is going to be important. Emotional health and stability, I think, is really key this month. So talk to someone. Talking is key with this as well. And finally, loving yourself, accepting yourself, celebrating yourself, and then also loving yourself enough to ask for what you need, including the resources and the support that's necessary for happiness and stability. All of those things are coming through. All right, let's go ahead and go a little bit deeper into the soul path. So we're going to start with increasing resources, because Four of Pentacles is not enough. So we want to drill into either why it's happening or what to do to basically heal that. What's the solution? King of Pentacles. All right, that's a great. What I like with this card is we see him literally taking the bull by the horns, right? So you have to take the initiative. And it's very kind of acrobatic here, and also very hanged man. So it feels like there's no more delay. It's time to kind of move forward. And the bull seems to be going along with him. So I would say for you, this is the right time for a negotiation or a renegotiation or a conversation about salary. For those of you in a relationship, it's time to ask for more support. Hey, I've been working long days. I've been doing this. I've been doing that. I need help with this. Can I count on you for that? And for the rest of you, this can also just be about really deciding to invest in yourself, because this is kind of an inversive card, even though it's upright. We see him holding on to that energy. And when I see a reversal with Pentacles, it's kind of about putting that sort of resource within. So going back to school, negotiating a salary, asking for assistance in work or in relationships, putting yourself first. If it were reversed, I would say it was selfish, but with it upright, it's not. I think this is exactly where your mind needs to be right now. Okay. Those strawberries on it? Yeah, there's strawberries here too. I was just kind of looking at the art on this. But anyway, I feel like you can move it forward. You need to be a little bit bullish. My moon sign is Taurus. So that helps sometimes, because I'm able to, when I make up my mind and I get excited about something, I can really push forward on it. And I don't give up. I have like this persistence. So let's look at where Cancer might be in your placements, because I think this is going to affect this card. So for those of you that have Cancer in your rising and your ascendant, I actually feel it's very auspicious for you, because you're going to be able to take your passion and bring it into something tangible. For those of you that have Cancer in your moon, it could be a block, because sometimes I feel like it could be coming through more with the hermiting energy. So don't let your emotions rule you. You want to kind of act as if you were taking them and reigning over them. Let them fuel you, let them inspire you. Work with the other aspects of your chart this month to try to allow that to not be something that's pulling you down or anchoring you down. And for those of you that are just Cancer sun, I feel like it's okay. It's really about balance, because these horns he's not kind of like riding it unevenly. He's pushing himself up like Cirque du Soleil. So it's really about keeping grounded, because this is a grounded energy, and connecting and downloading that. So that's why I was saying something artistic, a way to kind of like pull it in. So I feel like you've got this, but if I just had to break it down for sun, rising, moon, that's how I would do it. All right. Let's take a look now at your second question, which was, let's go beyond the moon and the Five of Swords, please. What awaits us if we go beyond this? Okay, we have the Ten of Wands, which is fantastic. The Ten of Wands was reversed though, and the Ten of Wands is about moving on. For some of you, it feels like, and letting go of some of the pressure and the stress. It feels like you've outgrown a situation, that you are overqualified, you are overburdened, and you are overprepared. It is time. Like, it's so due that's why this is coming through in the recent past. It feels like this has already happened. So I want you to let it go. That's basically what I would say. Let go of the thing that you're holding on to, back to the center, which is the main message I had earlier. I'll take Ten of Wands. It's not a resource card, but for the future state, this tells me that there's something really great. It's getting to the top of the mountain. It's seeing the easier, greener portion of this, that there's something nice to look forward to. But what is standing between you and that is release, because Ten of Wands reverse is releasing the pressure. It's also letting go of holding on to something. It's delegation. It's also not being pushed to do something that you don't want to do, because the 9 and 10 of Wands reverse are very pushy cards. So if there's someone in your life that's trying to push you, no, you've got to feel it. There could be a move or some travel associated with this. It's not as much of a move card as like Six of Swords or the World, but there is a move with this. It can show that you've decided to pack up and try something different. And maybe that's what you're deciding to do, is chart a move in the future. No matter what, I see some movement on the horizon for you. And the 10 of Wands is the end of a cycle. So there's a light at the end of the tunnel, okay? Let's look at a wild card. We have the 5 of Cups here, all right? I have to look close at this because it's so impressionistic. Okay, so he's dropping the cups down, and he could be losing them or he could be releasing them, but it looks like there's 2 up at the top here. So what we want to focus on is, when we let go of something, it doesn't mean that we won't ever have something again. It means that we're making room for something better. So let's imagine that this is a release card, a recycling card, which is something that I've been talking about all of us needing to do right now, which is just kind of let things go. So if there's something in your life where the cup's already empty, you're not feeling it, just release it. And it would be better for you to focus on the 1 or 2 things that you can really, because look what happens. If we don't focus on the 3 cups that have fallen, what's there? The 2 of Cups. What's the 2 of Cups? The Lovers. So you could be focusing on all this stuff that hasn't been working, or there's people that love you. There's opportunities that reciprocate. There's some great stuff up there. There's a 2 of Cups. Let's go to the 2 of Cups. Let's not fall over the edge here, looking at the stuff that's already gone. So that, I think, can help you get past the 10 of Swords and the Moon and the 5 of Swords energy. There's a little bit of cleaning up that's going to happen over the next 6 to 8 weeks. But when we look at the future here, wow, isn't it bright? We've got an upright King of Pentacles. You're literally taking the bull by the horn. And then we have the 10 of Wands reverse, which is a release, which is things getting easier, which is being on the other side of the mountain. Things are finally feeling like it's it's not an uphill battle anymore. And then we have 5 of Cups, which has like a hidden 2 of Cups right there. Once you let go, there's some good stuff awaiting you. Okay. So I like what I see here, but you have to work through communication. You have to work through power dynamics. You have to work through self-worth and payment sort of stuff first. Once all of that stuff is sorted, yay. I like what's more on the 8 week end of the 6 to 8 week forecast. Okay. So there we go. Let's go ahead and meditate. And before I do that, a couple of notes. After the meditation, I'll answer a question that you send to me. So hold that in your thoughts while you're listening to what I have to say here, and then we'll pull that card at the end. Before I do that, like I said earlier, I'd love for you to connect with me. If you are a first-time viewer and you like what you see, please subscribe. If you've already subscribed, thank you. You don't have to ever hit that again. If you haven't liked this video yet, please do that. We have less than half of the people that are watching right now that have liked it. It will help YouTube serve this up in suggestions. So it's the equivalent of applause in a theater. So if you can do that, it helps me more than you know. Follow me on social media if you haven't already, especially on Instagram and TikTok. I do readings on that as well. I do lives on those 2 platforms as well. I may share some of that content here, but for now, it's kind of exclusive there. Thank you to everybody who's been kind enough to send a super chat or to join the channel. You make it all possible. You helped me buy a deck like this. I actually found this one on Instagram. and I just liked what I saw. And let's see if there's anything else. That's it for now. You can go to my website for more information on how to find me elsewhere, and also like what's coming up next. I'll post some links to upcoming videos and everything at the end, but let's go ahead and meditate and get to the final card reading right now. All right, as I'm getting set up and as I'm looking at this, I really want to focus on the star energy, because that's what you have, and this will kind of help you get in alignment with everything. So let's imagine that it's the dawning of a new day, that you're sitting on the beach, watching the brilliant shades of the sun coming up, and we see this beautiful sort of tangerine, orange, yellow light that's actually pushing up the veil, pushing up the curtain of the evening. So the blue, the magenta, not the magenta, it would be more like midnight blue, purple and all of that. It's pushing up that curtain, and instead we just get this brilliant shade of orange, yellow, and tangerine. And just like ribbons of light, it's reaching out, warming up the horizon, touching each and every object on the planet and feeding it, giving it life. And as you look at the sun and you remember our catalyst card, the mirror, what you realize is you're not just looking at the sun, you're looking at a mirror of your energy. You too are constituted from stardust. Everything on this planet is the result of a star that went supernova. All the heavy metals, all the complicated organic life, it's all from a star that went nova. So as you look at the sun, you start to remember, I'm constituted from the same material. I'm in a living organism, but my core, my soul shines just as brightly as this sun, as this star, and I am the star myself. So I want you to imagine that because somewhere in us is stardust, that each and every cell in your body starts to shimmer, starts to shine, starts to illuminate. That it could take on any color that you want. Stars are many, many different colors in the sky. I think that it goes from like red to orange to blue to, I don't think there's green, but almost any color. Just imagine whatever color you'd like to shine with, and see that brilliantly reflecting right back at that sun, saying, I see you, and do you see me? And realize that this is the ultimate expression of the fact that there can be two suns, two stars. One doesn't have to consume the other. So you're going to call in that twin star energy in your life. It could be an opportunity, it could be a partnership, it could be a friendship, it could be a pet. But I want you to call in this blazing star, because you're becoming that blazing star yourself. So you're deserving and reciprocating the energy out there. That's how you call in your partner. That's how you call in the opportunity. You got to blaze bright like the sun. All right, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and own your divinity. Shine brightly, and just see those rays of light shining and reaching out and kind of holding on and bringing forth whatever it is that you want to bring into your life. Take a deep breath. Feel that warmth, feel that light, feel that radiance. Allow that to follow you in each and every day of this week, of this month, of your life for that matter. And never let someone mute your energy, your voice, or your light. Push your light out there and hold your space. You've earned this moment. You've earned this opportunity that's coming on the horizon for you. Start to think about what your question might be for me. And let's take a look. Just hold it in your mind, and I'm going to pull a card here and see what's coming through for you. All right. So your final question, your final card. Five of Wands. All right. So this is not a yes/no question. This would be a don't give up question. And this is also about working smarter. You got a lot of fives this month. Didn't you get the Five of Cups, you got the Five of Swords, and you've got the Five of Wands. So what I would say for you with this is when it comes to matters of work, when it comes to any goals that you have, it isn't about competition. It's about completion. For those of you that have gone through a really grueling certificate program, certification is what I wanted to say, or you've gone through a really difficult education program, maybe going back to school, getting a high school diploma, a GED, or going to college. There are points, especially if you're trying to work a job, maybe you have a family, where it just feels like, why am I doing this? It could be anything in your life where there's that question of why am I doing this? You got to go back to the blueprint and remember that you're doing it because of the promise of tomorrow, because of the promise of that future. And that the moment can be frustrating, but the reward, the tangible reward, and that thing in the future is really what you're holding out for. So don't lose track of the blueprint, and then really engage those around you so that it's not competitive, but it's more cooperative, if we go back to some of the messages earlier. Because the Five of Wands can also be teamwork. It doesn't have to be competition. So together, we do it better and faster, kind of like the lionesses that hunt for the pride of lions for their pack. They basically are able to work together, bring the food back, and it's amazing what teamwork can do, right? So power in numbers, teamwork is important, don't give up. All of those things come through with this. It feels like for some of you, there is a lack of connection or satisfaction with what's going on. So if you have been holding on to something for a while, this is telling you why that's not enough, because this could be like clocking in and out of something like it's work. It can include a relationship. Sometimes relationships just become work. Where is the love? Where is the connection? So this is about finding the spark, finding the purpose, finding the direction, adhering to that, keeping to that, and then rekindling it when you need to, and things should work out. So overall, Cancer, you have a lot of really great energy, but there's a few gatekeeper cards for you. And the gatekeeper cards were the Ten of Swords. So just avoid arguing with someone who you shouldn't. And the same thing with the Five of Swords. Another gatekeeper card was actually the Five of Cups, which was a perspective card. When you stop focusing on what's lost, you actually see what's there, which is love, support, and opportunity. And this is the final gatekeeper card, which is work has to be done. It's not always fun to do the work, but the work is necessary to achieve the goal and to get to that next graduation step. It's a rite of passage. So there are certain rites of passage that we still have to kind of like go through because of hierarchy, pomp and circumstance, whatever, but you can do this. It's just a question of how much you want it and when you want it, because you can work a little faster with and work a little smarter with the Five of Wands too. Your optimistic cards, which could get overlooked because some of you only focus on those gatekeeper cards, we'll call them, the Lovers. It's fantastically strong. That's right in the smack dab in the center. You can attract what you're looking for. Your charisma is really strong. An Ace of Swords, your communication can cut right through all of this. The Star, you are really shining brightly, and I tried to amp up your energy there just a moment ago. And then the Three of Wands. It's already happening, but it's more about the perspective of the Five of Cups. So take the bull by the horn and get working, get busy, and it feels like there's some really great things on the horizon for you. Okay? I hope you enjoyed today. I hope that helped. Yeah, what's life without some fun? I agree. I talked yesterday about that with Gemini a bit. Having fun is important, and I think finding for you the passion or the enjoyment in it is going to be really key as well. So before we wrap up, just a couple of quick notes. I will be doing a collective reading, I believe on the weekend on, let me see if I can pull up the links here, but I'll talk for a second while I'm doing that. So while I'm waiting for this to open, there'll be 3 collectives this month. I have one at the midpoint, one on the last weekend of the month, and then I have a bonus one in the middle. I would also, here we go. So yes, let's take a look. Here are the upcoming readings. I'll be putting the links to these later today. So feel free to join me on Thursday and Friday of this week for Leo and Virgo. So these are the next two upcoming readings. And the mid-month collective is actually on Sunday. So this is an all signs inclusive one. A lot of times when people pop in, they'll say, what sign are you reading for? Everybody that shows up. And then these are the other bonus readings for the rest of this month. And if you would like to join me on social media, I actually already pinned the link, but I mentioned earlier in particular, Instagram is great if you haven't followed me there, and also on TikTok. These are two that I'm putting a lot more additional content in. Those are the links to those two right there. And everything else is on my website. One final way you can show support is through my book. If you happen to be a fan of science fiction or fantasy, like Lord of the Rings or Dune, longer reads, more complicated, but fun and rewarding, then the Luminous ones is for you. Otherwise, stick around here and we'll continue to talk about cards and what's coming through, and hope you enjoy it. Thank you so much, everybody. Again, I'll be back Thursday and Friday. I'm always live every Sunday, Monday, Thursday, and Friday. And then you can catch me other days of the week on Instagram and TikTok. All right, take care, everyone. Have a great week ahead, great month ahead. It's good to see you. And I wish you the best. Thank you, Maria, for your help as well today. Bye-bye, everyone.